Time for sound design. Today I'm going to use the Amiga 500 to create an ambient soundscape, and I do this by sampling two synths, the Yamaha Reface YC organ and the MicroKorg synthesizer. If you want to know more about how I sample with the Amiga in Protracker, I have a video that I will link which describes that process. So let me switch to the screen recording of the Amiga. I loaded up Protracker. I'm going to insert the floppy and load this soundscape. So it's now loading the soundscape. This might take a little bit of time. Let me first play the individual sounds that I sampled. So the first one is from the Yamaha Reface YC. And here I played these notes. As you can hear, there's a lot of noise in the tails of the sound. Then I copied that sound and I just used the tail. Sample 3. I just took another part of that sound with a little bit the attack of the note and the noise just before it. And then sample number 4 is from the MicroKorg patch B12 that I also used in the previous video. So it's a very clean sound, and I turned the loop on here so it basically can drone forever like this. And if you pitch it down, you get that nice lo-fi ring to it. Fifth sample that I recorded is also on the MicroKorg, and it's the root and the fifth played together. Original pitch is this. So those are all the samples, and let me now go to the sequencer. And on track 1, I've sequenced the first sample. It sounds like this. So the tempo is 125. So this is the sample with the 3 notes. So if you look here, so I played lower on the keyboard, but they are not synced to the tempo. So when the first one plays, it doesn't necessarily finish before the second one note comes in. So let me play the whole sequence. So I re-trigger the sample, and this creates a kind of a random rhythm, which I think is really nice. Then on track number 2, I sequenced this. So it's the same sample, just pitched higher. Then on track number 3, I just sequenced the noise, every quarter note basically. And then on the 4th track, the MicroKorg sample, and then down played 2 octaves lower, I think. So you get that ringing, lo-fi ringing sound. So this is like a drone that just continues entire bar, and because it's pitched down so much, it actually is long enough for one sequence, one pattern. So those 4 tracks together sound like this. So this is what I did in Protracker. I used the samples from the MicroKorg and the Yamaha Reface to create this basic setup. Then I multi-tracked it into Ableton. So what that basically means is I muted 3 of the 4 tracks, played 1 track for 3-4 times, and then I did that for each track. So that means that I have each track separately in Ableton, and then there I can continue to arrange it and do some additional processing to it. So now let's go back to Ableton and I'll explain what I did with the parts from Protracker. So this is the Ableton session of the soundscape, and the raw recording straight out of the Amiga into Ableton sounds like this. The 4 channels, 2 of them are panned hard left and 2 of them are panned hard right. So it actually sounds like this. So this is not really what I wanted. So recording 4 layers separately, as you can see, I have them here. So track 1, track 2, 3 and 4, and you can see that they are hard panned left and right. So going to track number 1. first thing is that I centered this instrument, and then I actually used the panning here to put it a little bit to the left. I did some EQing and a chorus. And then the only other kind of tweak I did is to reverse here a little part. For track 2, I first also put it in the center to then put it to the right. And low cut EQ and a bit of delay. So that sounds like this. A lot of noise in this recording. For track number 3, which plays throughout the entire piece, which is the noise track, I did a low cut EQ, little boost here around, what is it, 3.3 kilohertz. And then I put a pitch shifter up here with an LFO that changes the pitch a little bit to create a bit more a wobble in the track. Very subtle. Then for track number 4, which is the MicroKorg, I put some reverb, a tremolo, an auto pan, and I use the LFO to modulate the volume, so there's a bit more variation in the volume. So without the effects, it sounds like this. And there's also some EQ here, yeah, low cut EQ at 75 Hertz. And a little bit of automation. So the tremolo comes in here and in the end. So the processing I did in Ableton is kind of light. It's mostly like EQ, panning, and subtle effects. So I didn't do extensive sound design. So I kept the sounds as they are from Protracker. But the main advantage of recording layer by layer is, of course, you can do this processing on the individual sounds, but also you can do a bit of arrangement, which is much easier to do in Ableton than it is in Protracker, where you have to build new patterns and you have to follow the patterns, you know, to build out a song. Yeah, as you can see in terms of arrangement, track 3 plays all throughout, track 4 almost, and then track 1 and 2, they come in at these times. And the entire track is, how long is it? 3.5 minutes. So now, the moment suprême. How much difference does it actually make if you take the audio out of the Amiga and you sum it to mono versus the processing of the individual tracks into Ableton? So I will first play the original sum to mono straight out of the Amiga. And now I will play the result. So as you can hear, it's quite a difference between the raw recording from the Amiga and the multi-track versions with some EQing and subtle effects. And I think it really brings the track a lot forward. So that was it for this video. Let me know how you use the Amiga or an old sampler in your productions. Do you do all the sequencing and arrangement in the sampler, or do you also bring it into a DAW like Ableton to further the arrangement and the track? I will now play the entire soundscape for you, and as always, see you in the next one.